here talking about Carl Benjamin, also known as Sargon of Akkad, and why his ideology is not only inconsistent, but extremely detrimental for alternative media and the people looking for change in society. Carl Benjamin apparently likes single-payer government-provided health care. I guess that's part of being a classical liberal. But I think a classical liberal would be much more interested in giving people choice and options. And there was a video where he had no comments on the Swiss healthcare system, but said that he liked the National Health Service, which doesn't really give a lot of choice. And I'd just like to see if Carl would like to comment on the Swiss healthcare system, if he's learned anything new about it, and if he agrees that it would be a better option for both the United States and the United Kingdom to replicate that Central European country with 4 official languages that has the longest male life expectancy on the planet and no capital gains tax. Another thing, Carl, that you've said that's a little bit disturbing is you seem to have come to the aid of Harvey Weinstein by calling a lot of the accusers whores. You don't know if they're prostitutes or not, but you seem very, very critical of those who've come out against Weinstein. And what you don't seem to understand is that the Harvey Weinsteins of the world have gangsterized entertainment, where you have to play the meat flute in order to get a starring role as a female actress. One of the reasons why you see so many extremely talented females touring and not on film or TV, I guess stand-up comedians like Kathleen Madigan and Margaret Cho come to mind, one kind of a leftist, one more of a libertarian, is because they aren't willing to play those games with fat, corpulent pieces of Clintonian Democrat Party monkey shit like Mr. Harvey Weinstein. They don't want to get Weinstein, and as a result we don't get to see them on film, and we don't get to support their film careers because they don't get to have film careers because unfortunately Hollywood is run by Clintonian, Hillary Clinton contributing gangsters, and they have to survive with their live shows. And when you come out and criticize people who go after the Weinsteins of the world and try and break the power of their gangsterish, groping, perv culture, much of whose revenue stream goes to the Democratic Party in the United States, you're weakening capitalism, options, choice, and hurting a lot of talented women from entertaining us and to the maximum of their talents. So I think you should think about your opinions before you speak about them. You know, you once said that some of your ideas may be incoherent and dumb, and I would agree that almost all of your opinions are incoherent and dumb. Another issue is that you keep calling yourself a classical liberal. I haven't seen anything really classical apart from your nom de plume, Sargon of Akkad. I haven't seen anything that's really liberal either coming out of your mouth, other than your criticism of Islam and radical feminist ideology. I don't understand why he's so obsessed with such superficial, insignificant issues. He should really focus on major issues like $20 trillion in quantitative easing, reducing the amount of volume in the stock market. I mean, pretty soon the banks and Federal Reserve will have huge, massive amounts of equity in almost all the publicly traded corporations in the country. And what does that do for the United States? It's going to do a lot more damage to our everyday lives than some blue-haired, septum-pierced, radical 19-year-old at the University of North Carolina who's screaming, "I don't want Trump! Trump, 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 he's a big stump!" Which seems to be the things that really sort of trigger the communitarians that consume most of Sargon's material. And it would be better if we engaged in a bit of economic discussion, talking about our futures as people in their 40s, 30s, and 20s who are going to have to be dealing with a post-baby boomer debt society, and not focusing so much on the Yvette Falarca's arrest and hopefully conviction. These are minor bits of tangential entertainment, and we need to focus on the macro. We don't really know your views on economics other than the fact that you think a society that produces billionaires is somehow bad. I don't know why you think that. I think if they're not colluding with the state and not making their money off of their close friendships with elected or unelected officials, there's nothing really wrong in accumulating large amounts of capital, is there, Carl? I don't know. I just wish that you would stop being a quote-unquote classical liberal, because you're not classical and you're not liberal. You're sort of like a kid who wears a Spider-Man Halloween costume and declares that he's a superhero. It's infantile, and we're all longing for your maturation to the world of adulthood. I just want to know what you actually do believe, Carl, other than a bunch of nonsense. Yes, feminists are bad. Feminism is a radical ideology that's extremely destructive and takes half of the population, or just under half the population, that has a Y chromosome and a penis, and attempts to belittle them and take away their power, and in many cases their self-respect. It's a bankrupt ideology. But I'm not quite sure what you want to replace it with. It's easy to criticize things that are actually happening, but when you criticize them, you need to tear them down, and you need to build a new structure right next to that structure that you've torn down and say, look, this is the right way. This is the good stuff. This is the alternative. The alternative is working together, having a flat income tax, getting rid of the capital gains tax, giving people lots and lots of options for health care, and making sure that everybody's covered. Basically, it's all been done before in a number of places around the planet, and we should be discussing these places. What makes, say, a Hong Kong different from a South Korea? These are reasonably successful countries that have come from relatively little over the past few decades and have built themselves an industrial, technological society. Let's talk about positive things, rather than just making fun of the giant, bloated, gelatinous, loudmouth neckbeards of the world. Right, Carl? I just get this feeling that King Sargon has sort of found his kingdom because of Gamergate, and he's been making up a hodgepodge ideology that fundamentally has nothing beneath the substratum once it's scratched and drilled. And he's still just trying to hang on to a career of YouTube subscribers and ad revenue and speaking engagements, and seems like he's run out of things to say. And I just wish he would share some new ideas to help propel society towards a better place. If you want to talk about it, Carl, we can get together and you can sit on the leather couch and you can explore the deepest, darkest aspects of your sort of lipid-laden skull.